Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to American Nostalgia Garage. Today, we got to put an exhaust system on the 66. I'd like to tune it, and we got to take a look at the carburetor timing. But in order for me to do that, I need to be able to run it for longer than a regular period of time, like you've probably seen before. I only run this thing for a couple minutes, so I need to do some little things, and the first thing I'm going to do is run some exhaust. So, without further ado, let me show you what we're going to be putting on this car. If this is any indication to anybody, this is a builder kit. They give you, it's like 4 of each bend. So you get like 4 45s, 4 U-bends, 4 90s. I don't know if you can make it out on the bottom there, 4 straights. Now, I'm not running this thing open header, so you might be asking, well, what are we putting for mufflers? Well, let me show you. We're running, that name should ring in every hot rodder's ears. When you think of a hot rod, this is what you think of. Now, yes, they do make Borlas and Magnaflow and Cherry Bomb and Thrush, and they all sound awesome. However, I'm really partial to the Flowmasters, as probably a lot of you guys are, so that's what we're going to throw on for now. So anyway, let's just get to it. Well, I'm underneath the car, and I'm going to try to map out what I think we want to do. Alright, so this is the underneath of the car. You're not exactly centered. Maybe that's more like center. We got one exhaust here, one exhaust here. I don't know what to do with my hands. What we're going to do is this is kind of a straight shot here. I want to try to avoid, there's a small cutout in the trans cross member. Gives me a little bit of ground clearance. I'm going to run the exhaust sort of right through here. And I'm just going to bring it straight back. I want to run it basically adjacent to this frame rail here and sort of keep it in this plane. So somewhere in between my two hands here. That's where I want it to be. Now the other side. Same thing. Cut out here. Frame rail here. I want to try to run it somewhere in between my hand and that frame rail back here. So I want to run it somewhere in here, which right now, kind of a straight shot. So I'm going to throw a straight piece on each one of these and just see what we got. Now the straight pieces are 4 feet long, and if you could see, this isn't going to work. Look how low this is. This needs to be really tucked as closest to the floor as possible, just to kind of keep some ground clearance. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to probably pie cut it way up here by the trans cross member, because I don't think it's worth wasting a 45-degree bend up there and sectioning it off to try to make it work. So I'll probably pie cut it somewhere up here, and then I'll get some angle out of it. So let's do that first. Let's go check the other side. All right, we have the same problem here, except it's worse. So this is pointing, I mean, it's pointing straight at the ground here. No, I wasn't wearing safety goggles. All right, yes, I was. You should always wear safety goggles, because you need these eyes. Oh. Okay, anyway, let's give you a look what's going on the bottom of the car. All right, here's what we got on the passenger side. As you can see, I'm about 2 inches off the floor. That's, you know, that'd be great if that was 2 inches. It's 2 inches to me, if you ask me. Anyway, I don't know. I'm about 1.5 inches off the floor here. So I'm very tightly tucked. If you could see, literally, it only comes maybe a 1/2 inch below the subframe connector. Let me give you a view from the back. This is what it looks like from the back. See how we're nice and tucked? I pie cut the pipe a few times here in order to get the bend I needed to get. So this actually worked out. You know, the pie cuts are kind of strategically placed. I didn't want the pipe to really come lower than, this is like the lowest point I really kind of wanted to pipe. I wanted to start turning here. So that's why I made that last cut there. And it worked out. So I'm thinking I want to put the muffler sort of right here. Just because it seems like a good empty sort of space. Nothing's really going to go here for now. Well, I paused Michael Bolton's Greatest Hits to give you guys an update on what's going on here. Hope you guys can appreciate, you know, I mean, that's dedication. Michael Bolton's greatest hits. Come on. If you are appreciative of the channel, go ahead and like and subscribe, please, if you could. Doesn't cost anything, and it really would help me out. You know, let YouTube know that you like what you see. Anyway, let's get on. So we got a section of the front pipe done. We showed you the pie cuts. Now what we're going to do is we are going to locate the muffler, because that's the next like definite point. And then we're going to build the humps that go over the rear end. Only because those are going to be something difficult, and I kind of want to locate those now, and then we'll build to them instead of building the exhaust and then figuring out wherever they're going to land. I don't want to do that. I want to make sure they land exactly where I want, and I'll build the exhaust to them. So let's do that now. All right, so here's what we got. We got our pipe ends there. We got our muffler here. See, now there's a space in between the end of these. There. I'm going to put a flex joint there. I'm going to put a flex joint right here. I'm going to put a flex joint there for two reasons. One, because it's an odd angle and I don't want to have 100 pie cuts. And two, because I need a spot in the exhaust that isn't gonna, that's basically going to be the point that's going to give when the car moves around. There's got to be a point that has a little bit of movement aside from just the rubber mounts. You don't want these things to be totally solid because the engine isn't. So you got to have something that kind of moves around a little bit. So you don't have to put a flex joint in, but I'm going to. So we're going to put that in there. It's about 10 inches in between these 2 points, and the flex joints that I bought happen to be 10 inches. So I won't really have to add anything or subtract anything. If you look here, I have the muffler on top of a couple of wood blocks and a brick. If you look though, it doesn't hang below the rocker, which is pretty freaking cool. Don't mind this. That's wet sanding stuff here. But yeah, the muffler's pretty tucked in there, so that's where that's going to go. I have a solid, that's basically going to be a definite place. So that's another reason why I'm not building this section. I'm going to build the back section, get the hump over the rear end, because that's got to be set up. So this is a definite point, and our hump is going to be a definite point. So I'm going to build those two pieces together, and then I'll make this connection and then send it out the back for a tailpipe. So let's do that. Time for an update. All right. Okay, so here's what we got. We got our muffler. And this is what, I'm not going to say this is what we ended up with, but this is what we have for now. 45 coming out of the muffler. We got a 90 coming back and clocked sort of towards the back. What I'll probably do is do another 45 going straight out the back of the car. We're not going to be able to weld any of this right now, so everything is in mock-up because if you remember, we still got to worry about this flex joint piece here. So I can't weld any of that stuff, because if I weld that stuff and then this is a little bit off, then I've got to worry about everything. So basically kind of have to do like everything together. So all the pieces basically have to be done sort of together. I'm going to wait till I get the flex joint. Should be like 2 days. I guess that's my light telling me it's about a wrap here. So I've got to wait for the flex joints to come in. Once the flex joints come in, then I can mock those into place. Once I can mock those into place, then I can finally like set permanent locations where everything can go, and I could start tacking it together. This is all stainless steel, so it's going to get tigged. So it's kind of important that the fit up is good. So what I am going to do now is mock up the other side, so that basically when everything comes in, we're just doing a bunch of welding and final fitting and we're good. But let's do that. We'll do the other side now. All right, well, this is the driver's side now. As you can see, that is not a good fit. So we're going to have to pie cut this quite a bit, and it's going to have to be like way up there, like very close to the beginning, and there's going to have to be probably, you know, 5 or 6 of them. So let's do that, and then I'll get back with you. So this is how close we got with I think it's 5 pie cuts. Probably gonna need like another 2 or 3 to be quite honest. Now I really hate pie cuts, but you kind of need them, and I really don't want to put a flex joint up there, only because there's limited room up there. So I really don't want them up there. So back here is where they'll go. Well, we can't really see that, but I showed you earlier. So more pie cuts. Let me show you what we got now for the driver's side. We basically did 500 pie cuts, and it seems like it fits pretty good now. So let me show you. Okay, 1,100 pie cuts later. Seems to be about as high as the passenger side was. Got it pretty much where I want it to be. So now we've got to take off where we came from here, like we did over there with the muffler. We've got to now put a muffler here on this side, mock one up, and then go over the, you can't see it, but go over the rear end here. All right, we got our other muffler mocked up. Thank God I have 100 spackle buckets, a couple of wood blocks and a brick again. Outlets up here. We needed to go over the rear end, so we're basically going to do the same thing that we did before. Okay, here's what we ended up with. We got passenger side, driver's side. They're up and over. Got to clear the shocks a little bit. I'm going to probably turn them in a little bit. I left them open with no tailpipe because I'm not sure about that yet. So basically what's left is, once I get those flex pipes in, I'm going to mock them in, set up permanent positions of all the pipes, and then weld, and then we're done. I know I make it sound a whole lot easier than it is, but it's not that far off. So let me check in with you after I get the parts. Well, it's another day. Let me address the elephant in the room. Shave the beard. I don't know if anybody's going to miss it, but my wife said she wanted to see me without the beard, so whatever. It's kind of a pain when you're eating anyway. Gets right in your mouth. Anyway, flex pipes came in. So these are going to now, we're going to be able to install these. These are going to allow me to locate the mufflers, just because kind of a weird angle, but these will give me enough flex where I can, you know, if something's not exactly perfect, you know, you can see them flexing it in my hand. But they do have a limit to how much they can flex. So that being said, you know, you can't just mount them anywhere. You're not going to get some crazy angles at them. So what I'm going to do is mock these in. Then I basically will have a place where, like, the muffler has to live. And then I'm going to go tacking things together once I know where everything has to live and how they're going to interface with each other where they meet, to make sure that there's no weird angles. And then we're good. We're going to go weld everything up, and then we've got an exhaust we can try out. Get a nice sound bite here. All right, I want to give a little explanation of what I've been talking about so it makes a little bit more sense. So I got the header pipe welded up. It's welded up, follows, comes along this line. Our flex pipes are in place. They're just mocked. I'm probably going to have to take some distance off here, and I'll explain why. So mufflers, we did a little V-band on there on each side. So right now everything's mocked in, and why that's important, why we had to do all of that in this order, is because the next piece is going to be here. Next piece is going to be this 45. The next piece is going to be this 45, which is going to come out and over the rear end. Now if you look, the top of the 45 kind of gets kind of close to the rear end. I don't know if you can see that. See how, I mean, it kind of, I'd rather the angle be sort of further back this way, more like this, so it goes over the rear end. You know, it kind of has a little bit more clearance. So what, in order for me to do that, I could cut off some distance off of here, right here, which I am going to do. or also move the muffler that way, which is what I'm going to do. Now, how do I do that? In order for me to do that, I've got to take some distance off here. So now I've got to decide how far do I want this muffler to move back this way. And then I'll take that distance off of there. So let me do some of that, and then we'll see what we got. Alright, so I'm going to show you what we have. I'm just going to show you the passenger side because I already took the driver's side off. What we're going to do is a quick comparison between, got the bells here, quick comparison between open header and our Flowmaster Super 40s, or Delta 40s. So let me show you the passenger side, and then we'll do a comparison. So we got our headers here. Our header comes down. Comes all the way down to a V-band, a flex joint and a V-band into our muffler, and after that we have a hump that goes over the rear end, and that's pretty much it. So let's just get down to it and get a comparison here. I'm going to take this off, we'll run it open header, and then we'll put the exhaust back on and run it again. I don't know if you can tell by the smoke in the air that today was a success. Yes, there are actually a couple things that need to be done still. I didn't get around to finishing the hangers today, so that'll be another day, but that's fine. The exhaust is on. The car sounds awesome. I don't know if the sound in the video is going to do it justice. Open headers was really cool, but this car has a small block Chevy in it, and it sounds like one of those 5-liter Mustangs that everybody loves, that sound. It sounds awesome. These Delta 40s are awesome. So if you're in the market for them, take a look. I mean, they're expensive. Nothing's cheap anymore, but they're definitely worth the money. I'm glad I spent the money. So anyway, this is where we're going to end this video. Click the subscribe button. You know, like the video. Maybe leave a comment. You want to know when the next video is coming out, right? I mean, the next video, I don't know exactly what it's going to be, but this car's got to get tuned. I'm sure you heard it in the video, but again, that's why we put an exhaust on it, so that we can get it tuned. Now it's in a position where we can do that. So thank you guys for watching, and see you in the next one. Later.